You mentioned that this place doesn't function without faith. Can you speak on that? And you can speak on your faith as well, because this is where your story, as interesting and unpredictable as it is, takes another unpredictable turn.
Indeed, indeed. It's quite an interesting one. So when I was in the military, especially within the intelligence world, there was a focus on the Middle East. And it wasn't necessarily a positive focus. Now, I won't say that Muslims were the enemy, but Islam was the boogeyman. It was post 9/11, fairly recently. There was a lot of focus of all intelligence services on the Middle East, and that's where, the danger area. To then, 15, 20 years later, accept Islam was a big step. I've been in the Middle East for 15 years. I had people doing dawah, so calling me to Islam, all the way back in 2004 when I was at the language school. I was learning Farsi, and we went to the Iranian area of Melbourne, which is where the language school was. And there was a guy speaking Farsi. He said, "Look, Farsi is great, but you need to learn Arabic." And he brought out a copy of the Quran. And I said, "Well, what do you mean? Why do I need to learn Arabic?" He said, I remember it to this day, "How are you going to learn the truth? How will you read God's words if you don't speak Arabic?" I was like, well, all right. So 2004, I had the thoughts of, oh, there's something here about Islam. I read up on it a lot when I was in the intelligence services. I realized it's a lot deeper than what the Westerners conceive a religion to be. It's a system for life. It is the user manual to the human experience. Every component of your life, from your relationships to your business to your daily routines, is written very clearly in order to be the optimized human. A lot of people are looking for that guidance. A lot of people are looking for masculine leaders. Have a look. I'd love to give you some books, if you're open to that, about the masculine leadership that's shown within various figures within Islam. It's quite remarkable. And so I'd say around 2012, I'd finished living, I did 2.5 years in Tehran and lived in Iraq. And I had numerous friends of mine who I found out later, after I'd gone, I really respect these guys. I found out they're very religious. I remembered every single person I interact with in the Middle East who I really respect, the men, I then find out they're very religious. I saw a correlation there, or perhaps causation. And I had numerous friends, I'd say 6, 7 years ago, saying, you're more Muslim than a lot of Muslims, to me. I was like, how do you figure that? But what was pointed out to me was that my belief systems are not only protected within Islam, they're encouraged. Being that traditional man, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the strong believer more than the weak believer. You have to be strong, you have to be combat ready. It is sunnah, which it's encouraged. It's what the Prophet, peace be upon him, did. For you to be a traditional value, strong, capable, dominant, combat-ready man, but also be very caring, be very empathetic with your family, be a leader who's able to lead many families, which is what the Prophet, peace be upon him, did. It's quite remarkable stuff. You want to talk about masculine leadership. Try managing many, many families while, leading warriors in a battle, while leading businesses, while having the matrix. The matrix came after the Prophet, peace be upon him. It's very interesting stuff. Again, I'd love to get you some books on that. So finally coming to Shahada for me was very much a logical decision. I saw more and more that evil existed in the world, and of all the different entities or answers to evil, I thought, well, Islam's clearly the strongest one. And I saw Islam as a bit of a force field against all the modern degenerate trash that people are pulled to. And it's really helped in that, look, to speak plainly, I've got more money than I need. And a lot of people in my position, they get caught up in hedonism. Perhaps there's, lots of intimate relationships, or, wasting time with drinking and partying, or even drugs, I avoid all of that, because the faith that I've adopted and accepted to be true very clearly says that stuff is Satan pulling you off course. If we talk about evil existing, nowhere will you find a more encapsulating and detailed definition of an understanding of evil than the study of shaitan within Islam. And so if you know that all these things pulling you off the straight path, Sirat al-Mustaqim as it's known, is really shaitan whispering in your ear, or the jinn, the demons trying to pull you away from being the man you should be. And you have that written in front of you, and you can discuss that with other men. And you know that if you do certain things during the day, you're keeping yourself clean energetically. You're keeping your heart open to God. You're keeping the akhirah, which is the afterlife. We're all scoring points, if you will, for the afterlife. You're keeping that in your heart. Even if dunya, the physical world's in your hand, even if you have nice watches, nice suits, in your heart you understand this is very temporary, and we're going to be judged on our final day. I must be accountable as a man in everything that I do. Where's the negative to that? Where's the downside? And so part of the reason why I believe this country operates so well is the leaders take their faith seriously. If you've got a politician in the West, what is his religion? Ego, hedonism, self-enrichment, power. we're relying on a human to be accountable to himself. It doesn't work. Humans are selfish. Whereas when you have leaders who are backed by faith, they feel accountable to God. They feel accountable to a very strict way of living, a very clear code for life with which to be the optimum human, the optimum leader. So that's why I think my sort of moving towards Islam was inevitable. And I said the same towards Tate. Even 5 years ago, I have some people question Tate's reversion, which is actually a sin in Islam, unfortunately. 5 years ago, he and I were saying Islam's the only way to save humanity. Even if in many ways he was new to the region and didn't really understand the depth of Islam. And he probably still doesn't. He's stuck in Romania on house arrest. You know, how's he going to walk into a masjid and talk to brothers about the beauty of our faith? How's he going to experience that deep inner calm in sujood when you put your head on the ground and during prayer when he's stuck on house arrest? You know, it's he just keeps his old inner circle to him. He doesn't have any Muslim brothers with him. His old crew is all he trusts to be around him, which is fair enough. So how is he going to experience and expand his understanding and appreciation of the beauty and the depth of Islam where he is? But yeah, to those who would question his faith, I'd say, man, 5 years ago, he was saying independently, Islam is the only way to fight against evil. He was always going to end up Muslim. It was absolutely inevitable, just a matter of time. As was I with my belief system as well. I'm a bad guy in the West. Here, I'm someone who takes his faith seriously, and that's respected.
You're a bad guy in the West.
I am indeed.
What does that mean?
I don't know if I'm hated. I don't know if I'm important enough to be hated. But I definitely am a bad guy in that my belief systems and that which I speak to openly, they'd get you in trouble. You'd be fired from corporate jobs. You'd be shunned from dinner parties. What I say openly is caveman rhetoric, and it's misogynistic, and it's this phobia and that. And I'm just speaking sense. Just like, a lot of what Tate says. It's just what a lot of people are saying on the golf course among men. Except I say it openly to public. I've learned from some brothers who are pretty good at doing that, right? Whereas in Islam, I'll give you an example. When these Vice documentary guys were trying to soundbite us, and one of the things that they caught me on was that I said, yes, if Tate wants to take care of multiple families, that's not a bad thing. And they cut out the bit where I said, as per Islam, there are ways to do it which are honourable and where all parties' rights are looked after. They cut that bit out. So there's, look, he's a bad guy, he's saying a man can look after multiple families. These sorts of things is one example of many. My belief systems, even from an early age, have been echoed by that which I've found as an adult within Islam. Super interesting. And again, because we're in Islamic countries here, my belief systems are not viewed as out there or outdated or somehow wrong. It's written. It's clear. There are just very clear rules to follow as a man in order to live per these sort of what people would call outdated beliefs.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.